ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्बोधभूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमहायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ वर्स 131 मिथ्यात्ववासनादार्ढ्ये प्रारब्धक्षयकाङ्क्षया अक्लिश्यन्तः प्रवर्तन्ते स्वस्वकर्मानुसारतः. So Vidyaranya is discussing this topic of Nididhyasanam in these verses. And we saw two types of a Nididhyasanam. And of these two, one is a little difficult. And second one is easier and enjoyable. So Samadhi Abhyasa Nididhyasanam is difficult in as much as you have to sit in a certain posture, time of Nididhyasanam, place of Nididhyasanam, and other things. You have to be a little objective about many things. Once you become an objective person, you can do meditation. A meditator is an objective person. So he has to be objective. And therefore, definitely, and Puja Swamiji used to, you cannot become objective. You arrive at the objective person. You are basically an objective person. But why you are talking about Swamiji objectivity? Objectivity and comfortability goes together. Being comfortable, otherwise you can't meditate. And therefore you have to be objective. Objectivity means you have to empty out your mind. Subjectivity, complaints, wishes, demands, keep the people, objects in your mind. You can't meditate them. So to be objective means you have to, unload. You unload all the people, various objects, etc. from your mind. Once you unload them, then you can load Ishvara. Or, ultimately you can load Atma, you can say, in a way. And therefore, this is a very beautiful thing. You can arrive at this objective person by following certain steps. You can't be objective. You are objective. And therefore, you are basically a comfortable person. So, etc. And therefore, no willing, no wishing, etc. You are just a conscious being. Just conscious being. I am a conscious being not by will. I am a conscious being not by will. It's my nature. Well, to be hearer, to be seer is a will. Yeah. I want to see. So the same conscious being becomes a seer. I want to hear. So you become hearer. But basically you are just a conscious being. That's it. And that's how Puja Swamiji always used to say about the hearing takes place. What is the will involved? Suppose right now you don't have any wish that so and so words from Swami I should listen. Still, you are just, if you don't even will, wish, etc., then still the hearing takes place. Because basically you are a conscious being. Will, effort, anxiety, everything comes. And of course, but basically you are an object. So this is what Puja Swamiji used to tell a meditator has to be familiar with this basic person who is a conscious being, who is naturally, he doesn't like the word relaxed, etc. But man, who is relaxed means what? Earlier you were tense and now you are relaxed. No, he says, you are basically free from any tension. Just being a conscious being, you are free from any tension. So you become familiar with this basic person. You are basic person. Naturally, one basic person in various situations take various roles, hearer, seer, or whatever role, whatever role. Basically, you are a comfortable, conscious being, simple conscious being. That's it. One more step to say you are consciousness. Just one more step. Karma Yoga brings you to this, to analyze, to bring an objectivity in your mind. Then Jnanam will tell you are not a conscious being, you are a consciousness. Anyway, so point is, so this is a little difficult thing, samadhi abhyasa, etc. But Bhagavan talks about it, this samadhi abhyasa, nididhyasana only in a sixth chapter. And even in the first chapter of the Vidya, this Pancadasi also, we have seen Samadhi Abhyasa, etc. He has defined very beautifully Nididhyasanam as a Samadhi, etc. And I have told you several times why we call it as a Samadhi. Anyway, so, but the second Nididhyasanam called Brahma Abhyasa is easier, enjoyable. And why it is enjoyable? Well, because tat chintanam, tat kathanam, anyonyam, tat prabodhanam, etc., etc. We are not so particular to keep mind in a single thought, etc., but to keep the mind engaged in a teaching activity. In a teaching, not teaching activity as such, but in teaching, whatever you have received, well, you keep engaged. You need not have to sit in a particular place and posture and these and etc. So that way, it is and the basic teaching is this: Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Either you dwell upon the mithyatvam of the Jagat, either you dwell upon the satyatvam of a Atma, the Brahman. Either way, it is the same thing, and therefore it is teaching. And in Yoga Vasishta, it has been said also that this, why the Samadhi Abhyasa is difficult, because mind, mind regulation is tougher than even drinking the ocean and lifting the Kailasa, etc. Like that, it is even tougher than that. Like that, it has been told. And Vidyaranya quoted also this verse also from 6th chapter, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramati balavadrudam, etc., etc. Anyway, so study and revision of this Upanishad teaching is sufficient in this Brahmabhyasa Nididhyasana. And we have seen also mutual sharing, writing, reading, listening. So it's easier. And even the story of Nachiketa, etc. Well, you can dwell upon. Looks that topic is quite different, but undercurrent is Atma Jnanam, even in that story. Any other story, or Sanat Kumara and our Naradji, or Uddalaka and Shvetaketu, or Varuna and Bhrigu, any story, etc. Ultimately, it leads you to Atma Jnana. So therefore, this Brahmabhyasa Nididhyasanam is simpler and enjoyable. And he gave an example, like watching a Bharatnatyam program, etc. So this is like that. So Tatparya is this, ultimately. Whatever you do during a day, you soak your mind in a teaching. And therefore, that way Brahmabhyasa is easier comparatively. Whereas Laukika Vyavahara is basically a distraction, because Tatparya is not ultimately in Laukika Vyavahara, this Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, etc. And therefore, reading a Kavyam, he said, reading the Kavyam and any kind of a Dvaita Shastra, dwelling upon Dvaita Shastra, including browsing the social media, etc., also is a highly distractive thing, highly distractive activity. One has to be very, very careful. I'm sure that if one is browsing through any YouTube or any kind of a thing, one is dwelling upon how everything is mithya and the substratum of everything is satyam. it just doesn't come. Whatever you see in a YouTube or everywhere, you see that it is Satyam. And therefore, Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya does not come. Jagat Satyam, Brahma Mithya only is your mind will dwell in that. One has to be very careful, because I want to mention this. Somehow we all are really addicted to social media, especially this internet business. Anyway, and hours and hours go, hours and hours. Anyway, then student raise a question. You say if other all activity is a distraction, then how come this Janaka etc. has become great jnani? They were so busy as a king. You are not ordinary people doing a lot of things, daily. So Vidyarnya says, well, Mandajnanam and Loka Vyavara, well, is inimical. Like a fire and wind are inimical or friendly. If someone asks you a question, don't answer. Right? Don't answer. Why? Vanani dahato vannehe sakha bhavati bham marutah saeva deepa nashaya krishe kasyasti sahrudam. So, vanani dahato vannehe vanani vannehe dahatah sakha bhavati marutah. You can understand very well. So, when fire is in a form of a small flame, etc., wind becomes inimical. But when there is a huge conflagration, like a forest fire, etc., same wind becomes friendly. Sakha bhavati. Marutah sakha bhavati, etc. So, wind becomes friendly. Similarly, Laukika Vyavara is inimical to the Jnanam or not? Well, don't answer. So, basically, if suppose you have done a Shravana Mananam, and then after doing Shravana Mananam, I have got a clarity what is Mahavakya, etc. Now, can I, sit with my internet, etc., all this for hours together or not? No. No. Because ultimately you have not done any Nidhyasanam, you have not assimilated the knowledge. And therefore, you have to make your knowledge stronger, well, ultimately, or in order to assimilate the knowledge and have a benefit, etc., well, ultimately, certain Vyavara has to be kept aside. And I have told you, the port has to be kept aside. Port has to be kept aside. I am not near the port, but we are near the port. Okay? We have a lot of possessions. There is no possession in the world. Possession is simply our attitude towards the various things. Because whatever certain objects you see and in your mind it comes, I am a possessor of that. That's an attitude. So possession also is an attitude. Then, ultimately certain occupation and relationship and transactions. So basically, all these things, they are all in the head. That has to be reduced. By Vyavara, what is to be reduced is this port. Port has to be reduced. Then, and once you do Nidhyasanam, you assimilate knowledge. Well, afterwards, any Laukika Vyavara, will be fine. Otherwise, Laukika Vyavara is like that wind which puts out the fire of your knowledge, which is just in the form of in a small flame. Even after Shravana Mananam, the Jnanam is just in a small flame. How can you say, Swamiji, you cannot give a certificate for us? I am not giving certificate. But after Shravana Mananam, everything is clear and you go out from the class. Immediately you feel world is real. Everything is real. Individual is real. Everything is real. That shows it was just a small flame. And therefore, Laukika Vyavara puts out that flame. Even you have a clarity in the knowledge. Even after Shravana Mananam is enough still. And therefore, Nidhyasanam, till one completes the Nidhyasanam and assimilate the knowledge, one has to keep oneself away from certain Vyavara. That's what I said also. So, Anya Vacho Vimunchatha, basically after getting rooted in this knowledge, let him involve in any Vyavara. So, Pashan Shrunan Spushan Jigran, Bhagavan also said that. Indriyani Indriyartheshu Vartante. Prakrute Kriyamanani Guneh Karmani Sarvashaha Tattvavettu Mahabaho Gunakarma Vibhagasha. Many places, Bhagavan described that. So, afterwards, even during worst crisis, even, you will not lose yourself. So if you are able to remember, I am free, I am untouched by the problem of samsara, such a drada jnanam is there, then Vidyaranya says, don't, then you are Janaka, another Janaka, don't worry about it. Otherwise, if that drada jnanam is there, is not there, then don't quote Janaka. That Janaka is doing Vyavara, then how can I? Anyway, so because Janaka has made the knowledge into a conflagration, and therefore Laukika Vyavara, the wind, cannot put out that. And if one has not Drada Jnanam, then Bhagavan has given example, if you remember in Sitaprajna section also, example of a tortoise, Kurmaha Angani Iva Sarvashaha. So basically, when the external world is like a threat, Vyavara is a threat to my knowledge. Because if you during a Vyavara, if it creates a Ragadvesha, if it makes your ego stronger, then you should be awareful. Daily, if you are doing a Vyavara and if you feel that I am getting more and more Ragadvesha towards various things, people, etc., then you should be really you should be really having a concern for that, because otherwise your Shravan Mananam will go in waste. So, oh student, if you can boldly say that your knowledge is Dradam, well then he says, do agriculture, study Tarka, etc. So, well, Tarkam Patha Yadva Krishim Kuru. So buy a farmhouse and buy a farm, make a house and do some agriculture, natural, and then enjoy there and eat. Or Tarkam Patha, any kind of a books or browsing in social media, everything will be wonderful. Mithilayam Pradittayam Name Kinchana Dahyade. So are you able to say that? Mithilayam Pradittayam. Well, ultimately we are not able to see, then one should take care. And in verse 131, well, he says here, let's see the words here, Mithyatva Vasana Dardhye. The Vyavara won't disturb only when Jagan Mithyatvam is very, very well entrenched in the mind. Jagan Mithyatvam is Deha Mithyatvam. Identifying with the Deha, well, ultimately world also is real, and this identification is also real, and then therefore Deha also is real. Such jnanis, well, have nothing to accomplish. Mithyatva vasana dardhe, dranam, then Vyavara won't disturb. And then yavan artha udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. So now, because free will has found its own fulfillment, and therefore such a jnani will, what is their aim? Their aim is in life is just prarabdha kshaya kankshaya. Well, they prarabdha kshaya kankshaya. They have only one desire to cooperate with Ishvara, join Ishvara in his work. Ishvara's work is what? He has given a sharira, right? And prarabdha, to exhaust prarabdha ultimately. So then he cooperates with that. Prarabdha kshaya kankshaya, they make Bhagavan's drama successful. But inside what? Aklishyantaha. Well, nothing is considered to be a burden. No event will be a burden for the person. These are all I am giving you indicators. If any event which happens in your life due to prarabdha looms large in the mind, be careful. Be careful. So otherwise it just, if any event happens, it may be any kind of a favorable, unfavorable, any kind of a dvandva. It is going to come. Ultimately, sukha, dukkha, mana, apmana, etc., etc. Shita, ushna, everything. That's what Bhagavan gives that example. Nirdvandvaha sattvasthaha. Nirdvandvaha. May you, Arjuna, become nirdvandvaha. No one can become nirdvandvaha, but ultimately knowledge makes it like that. Anyway, so no burden in Jnani's mind remains as a burden. No event remains as a burden. And there is only one thing. There is one, for that, this is, the single line is, Mithya cannot be burden on Satyam. That's it. That's it. And therefore, rope cannot be crushed by the snake, right? And therefore, if they, this is a single line in his mind. So, If they don't have any free will, well, to accomplish purushartha, these jnanis, well, then their direction of activities swaswa karma anusartah prarabdha kshaya kankshaya aklishantah pravartante. So swaswa karma anusartah, according to their own karma means prarabdha karma, they live the life to fulfill prarabdha. I mean, whatever is required to do, they do. Suppose prarabdha will be such that he may have to continue in a grihastha. Well, for some time he remains in a grihastha. He may have to remain in a grihastha throughout the life. He will remain in a grihastha. Or some people, well, their prarabdha is so strong that they are driven to the sannyasa. Well, then no one can stop him also, like that. So this is how it is. Whatever prarabdha is there has to give, it gives. So this is what verse 131. Partly we saw also before. Now let's go to verse number 132. Ati prasango ma shankyah swakarma vashavartinam astuva kotra shakyeta karma varayitum vada. Now Vidyaranya answers a possible question. Here we are doing from first chapter onwards, we are keep on answering possible questions. This is what the mananam is. A certain doubt that jnani has a no purushartha and he does not have a free will also to fulfill a certain desire, etc. So, because various whatever the sadhanams have been described in the Veda has become redundant for such a person. Because jnani does not require chitta shuddhi, therefore all those karmas, nitya karmas, panchamaya agnyas are redundant for him. Well, he does not want any worldly benefits, so all kamya karmas, etc. also is redundant for him. So he is basically vidhi nisheda atitah. So even our Shukadevji, in a Shukashtakam, he wrote this Nistray Gunye Pathi Vicharatam Ko Vidhi Ko Nishedah. So basically, his life is not governed by even Vidhi Nisheda also. That creates a doubt. Yeah, so if no one regulates your life, if there is no control on your life, then you may definitely will violate a dharma, etc. So that's a doubt here. That jnani may violate a dharma because he may follow a certain adharmic life also. We call it as a yatheshta achara. So will not be his life will be yatheshta achara. Vidyaranya says, well, don't extend too much. Ati ma shankya. So basically, ati prasangaha ma shankya. Don't extend too much. Well, at superfluous level, well, jnani and atheist look same. Because both are not governed by Vidhi Nisheda. Atheist does not believe in the Veda and therefore he does not accept the commandments of the Veda. That do this or don't do this, etc. He won't follow that. And even Jnani also does not follow like that. So superfluously, well, they both look same. So he says, Swakarma Varsha Vartinam Jnaninam. We have to add that. Swakarma Varsha Vartinam. With respect to these Jnanis, well, they who live according to Swakarma, who live according to their Prarabdha, means who do not follow Vidhi Nisheda, Ati Prasangaha Ma Shankya. Don't doubt of possibility of overextension. I mean, don't think about Yatheshta Achara. Well, why? Vidyaranya does not elaborate, but it comes in Nishkarma Siddhi, it comes also in Upadesh Sahasri. This topic, that even Jnani, even though has nothing to, he has no regulation in his life, still he will not basically do Yatheshta Achara. So, why? Because a Jnani must have followed a dharma as a karma yogi for several years, and so he must have a restrained life. Without restraint in one's life, one cannot gain knowledge. Yeah, this yajna dana tapasya is what? Satvikam yajna, satvikam danam and satvikam tapah. All regulations, nothing else. Right? So, basic, or even doing Panchamahayagna also is a regulated life. Panchamahayagna, offering to this. You have an attitude of offering to this. So, you do a lot of activity, you have a lot of karmas. And so, you exercise your free will. And that free will is always governed by this dharma, not by ragadvesha. Ragadvesha means yatheshtachara. So, number of years and all these values, etc. All our, amanitvam, adambitvam, etc. Whole throughout his life is just a regulated, disciplined life. A disciplined person only can gain this knowledge. Otherwise, it's not possible. Veda's objective is to make your life disciplined. That's it. From the page 1 of the any Veda, starting in Karma Yoga, the Karma Kanda itself, the whole Karma whole Karma Kanda is meant to make your life disciplined, even if you are doing a Kama Karma. No, Swami. Kama Karma means basically fulfilling Raga Dvesha. No. Even if you do Kama Karma, but in a stipulated manner given by the Veda, brings a discipline. And once your kamas are fulfilled, your Shraddha in the Veda will increase. And then, Veda talks about Panchamahagyas. Now that your stomach is full, you have fulfilled a lot of your wishes, now contribute, etc. And so again regulation. So throughout, till one reaches the fence of, this end of Karma Kanda, it's all regulation. Discipline, discipline and discipline. Tapasya is a discipline. Sathikam tapah. Bhagavan said, don't give up. Natyajyam. Lastly, while before concluding Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan did not forget to tell Arjuna this. Yajñodanam tapasyaiva pavanani manishinam yajñadana tapakarma natyajyam. Karyameva tat. Don't give up. Karyameva tat. You have to do it. That's the only way. That's the difference between the person who follows a person who follows the Vedic injunctions and who does not follow Vedic injunctions. The one who does not follow Vedic injunctions and just goes by his own likes and dislikes, he exercises his free will based on his likes and dislikes, will never achieve the human goal. Will never achieve moksha. He has to forget. Moksha means freedom. If you don't go via Vedic injunction, you will, at the end of the life, you are a dependent. That's it. Whereas this person who goes through the Vedic injunctions, starting from even doing a Kamya Karma also, and later Karma Yoga, etc., Panchamahagyana, etc., and then Jnanam, of course, well, he will gain independence. That's a human goal. More and more you fulfill Raga Dvesha, more and more life is dependent. So there is a question of gaining a human goal called moksha, independence, freedom. It's impossible. And therefore, ultimately, this person, Jnani, must have followed dharma, etc., as a karma yogi for several years, must have restrained life, and even after taking sannyasa, etc., also for doing shravanam, mananam, etc., and he has to protect sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Somebody asked me that, Swamiji, after acquiring sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, only one becomes qualified and then one can do shravanam, mananam, etc. Then what about sadhana chatushtaya sampatti? He has to protect it. He has gained it as a karma yogi. He has to protect it during that time. Even in nididhyasana also. During nididhyasana, he has to protect it. Otherwise, he can't do nididhyasana. So, he follows Dharma Shastra. Both during Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, he has followed Dharma. It has formed a Vasana. Whatever he has followed, it has formed a Vasana. It has entered into his subconscious mind. It is his second nature. Like getting up at a particular time, for a 1 week. If you get up for a 1 week, at least at 5 o'clock, and then 1 week from Monday to Saturday. Then Sunday, your eyes, you will get up by 5. And some people really get up, even though they have nothing to do at that, being a holiday, but you just get up. So this is how it is. So, anyway, it's a second nature. Same way this Satyam Vada and all, whatever, is all second nature. So even freedom is now given to him. Once he gains a jnanam, freedom is given because the whole Shastra addresses to Ahankara, Jiva. There is no Shastra for Atma. There is a Shastra for Brahman. For Brahman, there is no Shastra. Shastra is totally for a Jiva, the individual. Jnana Yoga is addressed to Ahankara only. So Jnanam is not given to Brahman. Jnanam is given to this individual that you are not individual, you are Brahman. Samavakya. So that is, so whole Shastra, entire scheme, I said in Sadhan Panchak just 2 days ago, it's a grand scheme. Even the stages of life and everything is a grand scheme, very intelligent design. Just one has to follow blindly, I say. Right? There is no blind faith in us, we know, but I'm saying you, one should follow blindly what Shastra says. You will be driven to the human goal, ultimate human goal. Anyway, so even now he has a freedom, he has gained freedom, and so, but still he is incapable of violating dharma. So this is called badhita anuvritti, continuation of dharma vasana. It's a mithya for him, but it just continues. It's a second nature. So somebody said that during freedom struggle, that our great industrialist Birlaji, Ghanshyam Das Birla, G.D. Birla, he gave a blank checkbook to Gandhiji, and and he was knowing for sure that Gandhiji has a sufficient self-restraint so that he will use this money for appropriate cause. He did not give any to everyone, this blank checkbook, but he gave to Gandhiji because he was knowing that he has a sufficient self-restraint. He will use the money for just appropriate purpose. So like that, freedom. So G.D. Birla gave a freedom to Gandhiji, knowing Gandhiji's second nature is this self-restraint. So that's how it is. So Shastra also gives a freedom. Shastra is like G.D. Birla, gives a blank check to this Jnani, right? So like Gandhiji. So Shastra is so confident that Jnani is incapable of violating dharma. And therefore such a doubt, oh Purupakshi, you should not create, you should not have it. So, and they always say, when self-control is there, external control is not required. When self-control is there, external control is not required. Anyway, but Vidyaranya goes one step further here. These are all things we know actually. But Vidyaranya goes one step further. He says in a rare exceptional case also, for argument's sake, there is a violation of dharma by Jnanis. And it has been done. Violation of dharma. But still that violation will not take place willfully. Because ahankara is mithya. Will is involved, ahankara is involved. So basically if one really does a violation, one can violate a dharma when one takes oneself to be an individual. Otherwise impossible. And therefore, if as a jiva you're a needy person, right? And therefore, for fulfilling a certain need, basically one violates a dharma. And therefore, even Jnani does this kind of a thing, then it is a deliberately do. Jnani does not have as such a ahankara, means mithya it's a mithya ahankara. And ahankara means just a sense of individuality, with identification with the body, mind, sense complex, but that is just due to prarabdha it is there. Otherwise, the self-ignorance is not there. So for him, ahankara is mithya. And his actions, therefore, being a mithya karta, etc., his actions will not bring a agami karma also. Like they always give an example of a pashu, in fact. So, Jnani's karma and a animal's karma. Like we should not say karma, but let's say that. Like a tiger kills a deer and still it doesn't incur a papa. Same way this Jnani also, since he is no more a karta, so that is also his karmas are not considered as a karma. It doesn't generate any kind of a papam, etc. So anyway, but so he says here that his second nature is such that he will automatically follow dharma. Otherwise, even if he does, he may violate. Astuva, let there be violation of dharma as a rare exception by Jnani. Who violated? Bhagavan violated. That's what people criticize. So Lord Krishna deliberately violated dharma just to show that Jnani won't incur papa. And but Swamiji, is it correct? Indra, I think in a Indra said to Pratardhana, I think Kaushitaki. In Kaushitaki Upanishad, the Indra said to Pratardhana that I have killed thousands of sannyasis. He said, I have killed these thousands of sannyasis who were there in the forest, and because I found them not following proper sannyasa dharma, etc., I have killed all of them. Still, I have not even acquired a little bit of papam also. He was glorifying this jnanam. Anyway, so Indra said to this King Pratardhana. Anyway, so this is how it is. So if you see the entire biography of Lord Krishna, you will find that he has violated at several places. So deliberately, we should say that. So if prarabdha requires such a kind of a event where you have to violate, etc., well, then nobody can stop it. In case of Bhagavan, it is not a prarabdha, he has done deliberately. But in case of a jnani, well, certain prarabdha, certain karma has to be done. In prarabdha is brings like that, well, then he may deliberately do it. He doesn't have a ahankara as such, but he may deliberately do it. So, kena karma varaitum shakyate. Who can stop such a rare event? Kena karma. Karma means a prarabdha. Varaitum means well, avoid. Who can stop kena? Means by such a jnani. Who can stop such a rare event from happening in case of a jnani? And that won't affect his jivan mukti. That's what Indra said. It doesn't affect my mukti at all. Anyway, so or videha mukti. Let's go to verse 133. ज्ञानिनो ज्ञानिनश्चात्र समे प्रारब्ध कर्मणि न क्लेशो ज्ञानिनो धैर्यात् मूढः क्लिश्यत्य धैर्यतः. This is a one topic which generally is, the Vedantic teacher tells at the end of the Vedantic study, and it dampens the enthusiasm of the student after listening to this, what has been told in this verse. So many people come to Vedanta to avoid a unfavorable situation in life, and with the hope that they study actually. That if I study this, in my life there will not be any unfavorable situation. They talk law of karma also. And even in our Shastra also says that all types of karma, are destroyed by the jnanam. Sarvam karma khilam partha dagdham. And therefore, jnanam destroys all karma. But then slowly they add one thing, and that is accept prarabdha. In fact, person comes to Vedanta initially to correct the prarabdha. He feels that if I study this, in his life there will not be any untoward situation, unfavorable situations. And unfortunately, that never happens. So, prarabdha cannot be disturbed. Sanchita agami, of course, if one gains a jnanam, well, then they get destroyed. And I am interested in not sanchita. This is a situation. I am not interested in sanchita, what is there, or I am not interested in agami also. I am basically interested in solving the problems in present. We also say like that you can solve the problems in present, like current Janaka's problem, etc. Current Janma problems also. So now at the end of this jnanam, well, teacher says prarabdhasya bhogat eva kshaya. After everything is over, he says prarabdha you will have to experience. Whether you study Vedanta or you do not study Vedanta, you will have to face unfavorable situations. And your prarabdha, my prarabdha is always a mixture. We all are Mishrajis, and therefore Punya Papams are there in this Janma. And according to fructification of Punya and Papa, certain situations, favorable, unfavorable situations will come, you will have to face, and even strong prarabdha, even teachers does like this. Even a strong prarabdha will also come in your life. And so, jnanam cannot stop this. So what all things, a body has to go, well, nobody can avoid. Then the thing is, then why should I study Vedanta? You should have told me before 2 years, before starting Pancadasi. Now you are saying after 2 years or 2.5 years, you are saying this, that you will still you will have to face a unfavorable situation, and very, very, very unfavorable situation, although still it will come in your life. This kind of blessing you are giving, what is this? Vidyaranya says, well, it does make a difference. Even prarabdha, let the prarabdha brings any kind of a situation in your life. Well, difference is not changing the prarabdha, and therefore our own seekers, on one side they are listening the shastra and etc., Upanishad, Brahma Sutra, everything. On the other side they are doing some prayaschitta also, Narayana Bali, and and then Sarpadosha and all. They do parihara also. All these things, both the things go together. So point is, they have realized this jnanam cannot help to bring a change in my prarabdha. Then what jnanam can do then? For what I should study? So he says, jnaninaha ajnaninaha cha prarabdha karmani same. You can understand, right? So jnaninaha ajnaninaha cha. For jnani and ajnani both, well, he says, I am confessing. For both of them, prarabdha karmani same, well, prarabdha karma will remain same. So means if you have a jnani also may have a very bad prarabdha, right? So while acquiring jnanam itself, he is facing several situations, very, very uncomfortable. And ajnani may have a good situations all the time, possible. But only thing is, jnanam gives you the strength basically to face the prarabdha. So the way we react to the prarabdha, well, that will be changed. So it says here, jnaninaha dhairyat. Jnanam, well, definitely decreases three things. Jnanam decreases your reactions. Jnanam decreases the frequency of the reactions in various situations. Jnanam decreases the intensity of the reactions. In reactions, you can understand anger or other issues. Decreases the intensity of the reactions in various situations. Because certain situation come in your life due to prarabdha, you will react very intensely. Or you are having a prarabdha in which, well, the other person always tries to, he pokes a nose, or he or she pokes a nose in your daily affair, and you just get irritated, etc. And getting irritated several times in a day. So that frequency will reduce of such reactions. Intensity of the reactions will reduce. And even if you react, the recovery from the reaction will be faster. This is the thing. Prarabdha remains same. Only these three things will be there. Or else they say, this ultimately jnanam gives you a benefit in terms of the calmness, the cheerfulness, or a courage to face this prarabdha. So this is the change caused by the jnanam. Like they say, in immunity. You are going to a certain crowded place, like we used to having now, of course, COVID, but in those days also, while in this Kumbh Mela, etc., you are going to such a crowded place, they say you take certain vaccines, etc. So that kind of immunity you develop. You can get a immunity. So jnanam also gives you, it's like a vaccine, gives you certain immunity to in various situations due to prarabdha. In fact, jnanam gives a objectivity to your own ahankara. That's a fantastic thing. So as a sakshi, right, of this ahankara, etc., well, objectivity comes. And therefore, if you analyze this, and that you are just a sakshi of this ahankara means this individuality, the sense of I in the body-mind sense complex, that will be there, but you become objective. Earlier you were taking yourself as ahankara, now you take yourself as a witness of this ahankara, etc. Well, so if you take it, if you become objective to this ahankara due to jnanam, well, then automatically reactions come down. All our angers and everything will be there when you take yourself as an individual. That's it. And therefore, if you mithyatu nishya of this ahankara, etc., that's due to jnanam. Of course, based on jnanam, well then in various situations of your life which are generated by prarabdha, well you can handle better. So you cannot avoid prarabdha, but you can definitely gain a strength against this to face the prarabdha. So tremendous strength. So na kleshaha, this mental agony, etc., becomes insignificant. And somebody gave a very beautiful example that, like you have a 3 bowls of water, that hot and then normal and then cold, right? And then you dip your fingers first in these 2 bowls, hot and cold. And after dipping for a few minutes, now if you dip this both the fingers in the middle bowl where there is a normal water, even the water is same for both the fingers in that bowl, well, but both fingers feel difference, right? So the finger from that hot water, well, when you dip here, it appears cold here, and when the finger from that cold water, when you dip in this water, you feel it little warm. So this is how it is. So filling in fingers are different, even the water is same way. Same way here, jnani and ajnani, both will have a prarabdha depending upon his own. But basically, the difference is in their attitude towards these various situations. So dip your mind in Vedanta, and then in Jagat you find a difference. So even though it's the same word for Jnani and Ajnani, but there is a lot of difference in their attitudes. For Jnani it is insignificant. For Ajnani it is significant. So Moodaha, he says now. Whereas Ajnani, adhiryataha, because of a lack of courage, courage which was born out of knowledge, but that he doesn't have, lack of that knowledge, well, his mind is weak, and therefore klishyati, moodaha klishyati, adhiryataha. So this Ajnani overreacts to every situation because of adhiryataha. So dhairya means courage, adhiryataha, because of a lack of courage, because he doesn't have a knowledge. That's what he shows a difference here. Verse 134. Marge gantrordvayo shantau samayamyapyaduratam janan dhairyadrutam gachet anyastishtati dinati. He says not only in a perception of this jagat, but in perception of life also there is a difference. Well, both have a Jnani, Ajnani, both have a nearly same duration of life. But how does a person look? Well, here also knowledge makes a difference. For a Jnani, the whole life he doesn't look upon it as a bharam, burden. And in case of a Jnani, well, he looks this ahankara very objectively, and then that is why there is no bharam, there is no burden. And so, an Ajnani, well, he takes ahankara as himself and identifying with the body, mind, sense complex, and therefore he looks at this life from present janma, from the standpoint of old age, disease, etc. All this, and then worry, all these things will be there. So when you look at this, individual life from individual standpoint, it is very overwhelming. And ahankara has gone through several janmas, etc. Well, and has so many ragadveshas, etc. So if you take yourself as an individual and facing the life, well, it will be a burden. When you take yourself as a Brahman and looking upon ahankara, individuality as just mithya, then the life is not a burden. So Janan, looking at ahankara's positively, objectively, well, dhrutam gachet, well, Jnani comfortably travels. Dhrutam means actually speedily travels. So comfortably travels in the rest of the life without feeling burden. So the prarabdha may bring a certain, situation, unfavorable situation, but there is no resistance, there is no worry, therefore there is no burden. Dhairyat, because of the strength of this knowledge. So dhrutam gachet, he goes very smoothly in this travel of life. Anyaha, this Ajnani, Anya means other person, Deenadihi, with a miserable mind. Well, he is Tishtati. He does not move at all in this life. He just does not walk. He neither runs, but he doesn't walk even. Tishtati. He stands, keeping both the hands in on this head. Marge, and he gives an example for that. Marge dvayoho gantroho. For Jnani and Ajnani, both are traveling in the life. Well, but for that he is giving example. Marge dvayoho gantroho. These two people are walking towards, let's say, a Badrinath. One travels fast, and the other, well, doesn't travel much, because one knows that the goal is very, very near. Aduratam janan. Aduratam. Duratam means very far. Aduratam. He knows that the temple is now very near. So therefore he walks. Whereas the other person who doesn't know that, well, he doesn't walk. He just stands. How far it is, etc. Both are tired. So it says here, Shranto. Marge gantroho dvayoho shranto. Both are physically tired. But still one keeps walking in the life without feeling burden. Other is basically feeling the burden. The difference is due to Jnanam. Dhairyat. So Dhairyam, see, for Jnanam, see, amazingly he uses the word Dhairyam. He has to use Jnanat. He says Dhairyat. Means Jnanam gives courage to face the situation, Prarabdha, etc. Ajnani does not have that courage. That's how he says Dina Dhihi. His mind is Dinam. His mind is miserable. Doesn't have courage. So Itishtati, etc. So we'll stop here and further we'll see next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.